Mr. Trump, jobs are a big issue you talk about a lot. Some of these trade agreements like NAFTA and others have been very destructive for the working class. My question is, what specific steps would you take to help renegotiate those deals or help protect American jobs?
Our trade agreements are a disaster, partially because, again, contributions to the various people that run things, like the senators, etc. TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, is a disaster because they don't talk about monetary manipulation and devaluation. They don't talk about it. The number one way that countries are killing us is with devaluations of their currencies. And our companies can't compete. You take a look at what's happening in Japan with the devaluation of the yen. Just look at this. Caterpillar is having such a hard time competing with Komatsu, which is a big tractor maker from Japan. A friend of mine bought all Komatsu. All his life he's bought Caterpillar, big contractor, a big contractor. He bought his whole life, he bought Caterpillar. Now he's buying Komatsu, not because he wants to. He said they devalued the yen to such an extent that it's absolutely impossible to compete. So he bought it, and he's very unhappy about it. The Trans-Pacific Partnership is a disaster, and it shouldn't be signed. The NAFTA agreements and trade agreements that we have generally will be fully renegotiated by me. We have right now a deficit with Mexico, a trade deficit of $58 billion with Mexico. We have a $500 billion deficit with China. Can't have this. We will renegotiate. You know, Carl Icahn came out, he endorsed me, he said Trump is the one that knows what the hell's going on. We have another problem. We have corporate inversions where you have companies that are leaving our country now. That's a big problem.
It is a big problem. Let's talk about China, though, for a second. You've talked before about slapping tariffs, 45% on China, if that's what it took. But wouldn't...
It's not actually what I said. The New York Times said I said that, but honestly, I was at a meeting with the New York Times. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said it is a threat that I would use against China.
Okay.
For instance, China can solve
do you understand, though, that if we get into a trade war with China, that could hurt a lot of working-class Americans who depend on cheap products from China to be able to get by?
It's going to hurt China more than it's going to hurt anybody. We have all the keys. We have all the power. Look, China has... Absolutely, it's been one of the great thefts of all time, what they've done to the United States. And I have great relationships. I sell condos for tens of millions of dollars to Chinese. I have the largest bank in the world, which is from China, is my tenant in one of my buildings in Manhattan. I bought a building, I have a building through China, the Bank of America building in San Francisco. Right. I mean, I do a lot of business with China.
So they're pulling me to break. I want to ask you something, though, because before we go to break...
We can't let China continue to get away with what they're doing to our country.
So are you talking about, with China, whether we're talking about tariffs, are you talking about more threats?
It's a threat.
Action?
No, it's a threat, but you have to be able to put it in place. What China has done to us with devaluation of their currency is unbelievable. And nobody thought they were going to do it again, and then 4 months ago, they had the largest devaluation that they've had in 20 years. The largest in 20 years. Now they're going to do it again. Our companies can't compete. They are devaluing their currencies. Our company can't compete.
All right, we're going to take a break. They are just days away from heading to the polls here in South Carolina. And nearly half of voters have yet to make up their minds. When we return, we're going to hear more questions.